Hey everyone, Cynthia Ray here. Sorry, I just got sidetracked with a couple of things. Anyway, just welcome. I wanted to welcome you to our Thursday live session, and I plan on going on every Thursday in my group and presenting a different topic to you on wellness. And this week, or today, I'm going to be discussing organization. So I have this really cool little script set up. I just was brainstorming and trying to think of some concepts I wanted to relate to you all when it comes to organization. So, like I said, we're discussing organization, and what you're going to be needing is a sheet of paper or a notepad, because I'm going to be having you answer a few questions as we go along, kind of brainstorming some ideas and thoughts that you may have about organization. So when you hear the word organization, what is it that you picture? Do you picture maybe a specific person? Do you create maybe a judgment or maybe an accolade for yourself? Sometimes people might think, oh man, an organization, that's not me. But what if it's true and you are organized? You're thinking, oh wow, people really value my opinion because I'm organized, or my opinion about something to do with organization. So what picture do you create in your mind when you hear that word organization? Do you think of maybe a picture you might have seen on Pinterest about a beautifully organized home and kitchen? Do you think of maybe, I know for me, I kind of sometimes think of maybe like a Crate and Barrel catalog where everything's like beautifully organized, or the website, and the bedding is perfect, the pillows are perfect, the way the kitchen is, or even like the catalog for kids, for Crate and Barrel kids. Oh my goodness, it's beautiful. I always wonder how people would even get most of those things in their kids' room. So when you picture organization, what do you picture? Do you get defensive and overwhelmed? Like, oh, organization, that's just not for me. Or, oh man, I have no idea where to begin. How does this begin? Hey, if you're tuning in right now, I just wanted to let you know to log into eCam Live, where it says here in the link, to get permissions to join in the conversation. All right, so do you get excited and you can't wait to learn more when you're organization? Are you excited to learn more about not just organizing your day, but even organizing your mind? And it's interesting because if you think about it, organizing your mind to wrap around the idea of organization is actually the key to organization, is really having that mindset of, okay, I am setting my intention to want to be more organized because this is what I need for me, and I'm excited to do this. And if you're hesitant or reluctant, or somebody's been telling you to be more organized, you're probably less likely to start engaging in it until you're so tired of how frustrating life can be when things are chaotic and disorganized. So today I'm going to speak to you, like I told you, about organization and how to optimize your time and reduce your stress, because of how when things are in order, life goes a lot more smoothly. All right, so let's keep diving in. So when you have these concepts of organization, I'm sure you have lots of pictures swirling in your mind of what organization means to you. But before we jump in, let's talk about what it means for you. So organization is defined as the idea of putting things together in a logical order. It's a place for everything and everything in its place. I'm sure you might have heard that before, or some people that are like that. At least for me, I think, really, like, that's a little bit over the top. But you may find that it may feel that way, but it actually makes life so much easier. The greatest advantage of organizational skills is efficiency. So of course, the more organized you are, the more efficient you're going to be overall. An organized person will spend less time correcting mistakes, searching for information, and fixing any clutter. The more time saved means more time doing productive things. So of course that makes sense too, right? Organization is important because it helps to reduce stress from daily and chronic chaos in your life. You could only imagine, right? Organization helps you find what you're looking for. to get to appointments on time, and ultimately to get things done. The other thing I thought was interesting is that organization also tends to instill trust. So organization establishes a sense of trust and professionalism in the home and in the workplace. A well-organized person projects an image of reliability and control. So having an organized person in your life is actually kind of like a little security blanket, because you know that they're the type of person who is on top of things and organized. You also feel like you can trust them at the same time. So that's actually a really neat person to have in your life, and becoming a person like that is even more beneficial to others in your life overall. Organization, the definition of it actually is the act or process of organizing or of being organized. So that makes sense, right? So it's an act or process. So it's doing something or being in the process of doing something, or a process of being organized. So it isn't necessarily that I'm organized, it's that I'm in the process of learning how to be organized. From what I described, I would like to invite you to start thinking about what organization means to you. What do you think when you hear its meaning, the meanings I just described to you? Does it surprise you? Is it something that you already thought pretty much was organization anyway? So I don't see anybody on right now, but when you do get on this call or you're watching this recorded, go ahead and comment below in the comments section what it is that you think of when you hear the word organization. So take just a moment to do that. And if you have your journal, you can write it down or put it in the comments section of this post. Okay, so maybe you had a moment to kind of brainstorm a couple of ideas. So the other thing too is, you might have heard this before, but when I was reading that knowledge is great, but applied knowledge is even greater. So it's one thing to know something, but to actually apply it is actually wisdom. Like, how could you, I'm trying to think here. So if you learn about something, but you don't apply it, it really doesn't have a use. But if you're learning something to actually apply it, it can serve you in any way, positive, in a positive way, or negative, I guess, depending on what is it you're learning. So now let's go ahead and spend some time discussing how to get organized in your daily life. So we talked about what it is. Now let's go ahead and dive into how to do it. So the hardest thing in the world is to simplify your life. It's so easy to make it complex. And I saw that quote earlier today and I thought, wow, that's so true. How is it that we get stuck in a crazy, chaotic, busy life? And when it's so easy, why is it so easy to get stuck in a crazy life, but simplifying things is so complicated? And I think maybe in our society today, you can comment on this too, but about what your opinion is, but everything is so right now. Everything is available right now at your fingertips, whether it's food or information. Whatever you might need is pretty much available quickly. So, and there's also a lot of things that are available at the same time, like a lot of options. I know, like for my kids, there's so many classes and opportunities available for them, activities, classes, I don't know, just so many things that are available to us. Even for me, I love learning and I love teaching, but there has to be a point where we realize, oh my goodness, this just isn't working for me right now anymore, because it just gets so crazy and hectic. So it kind of makes sense to kind of fall into that, because we're kind of conditioned within our culture and society to grab things, because almost like have this fear of missing out kind of a syndrome, where if we don't do it now, we won't be able to do it again, or so-and-so's doing this now, I better do it now too. So it's so easy to get wrapped up in everyday distractions and opportunities, and we think we have to jump on them all, but we don't think about how it's going to affect us in our daily life and in our family life overall. So Something to keep in mind. Okay, if you're the type of person that's always busy or you feel like you're constantly behind the 8 ball, you've probably wondered how in the world, and is there a way that actually going to rise above it all? One of the ways, I'm going to discuss 6 different ways, but one of the ways is to simplify. If you're looking to simplify, there are several things that you can do to start to make change. And I really believe that probably one of the most foundational things you can do to get more organized is just to simplify. I was actually having a discussion with another mom this morning about decluttering. I know when we moved for the first time from California, we had to really consolidate everything that we had into one medium-sized pod. You know, those storage box containers that are picked up by a moving trailer or truck. And we had a pretty large house in California and lots of stuff between the 5 of us that we've collected over the last, how long were we there? About 11 years. And I really learned about decluttering, and not even that, but just simplifying. And even the year before, we were on a mission as a family to simplify our lives and minimalize. There's actually a documentary about living a minimalist lifestyle. And I just loved it. And my husband and I really enjoyed it. We showed it to our kids. And we also read a book about minimalism and what that entails and what it means. And it really means to not necessarily just get rid of all your stuff, but it means to only keep the things that contribute to your quality of life, that really give life meaning for you. Not necessarily having to have every single piece of furniture in every spot of the house, but purchasing and using pieces of furniture that you will be using on a regular basis, like your bed. You might need a table, a lamp, just things that really contribute to the quality of your life, and taking out all the fluff. And that in itself makes life so much lighter, so much airier. So you're really enjoying life without all the clutter. And something about having more margin in your life, not just with your schedule, but also with stuff, just feels easy. It doesn't feel like such a burden. So simplifying your life and keeping things at a minimum are super helpful for de-stressing and keeping your schedule more open with more margin. So I wanted to share with you a little story that I recalling this morning of my childhood and my thoughts of organization. So I can remember probably when I was about 8 to 10 years old, I was over at my neighbor's house for a play date. And for some reason, I think she must have asked me to get her a towel or something from their linen closet. So I went in, opened the cabinet, and I remember looking up and like, this is amazing. And I just remember seeing these towels beautifully folded, perfectly folded with the round edges on the outside, and then perfectly stacked on top of each other. Not only were they were stacked in like a progressive color change. So it's almost like rainbow color, but with whatever colors towels that they had. And it was just so beautifully done. It kind of reminded me of, if you've ever been to Bed Bath & Beyond, if you're shopping for towels in their towel section, if you look up above the towels that you can grab, and you can see that there's kind of like faux facade towels up there that are like perfectly folded. They're all in color order. I think like Kohl's and Macy's has that too. They're like beautifully stacked. And their linen closet looked like a professionally stacked folded set of towels. So I was just so amazed, and I thought, wow, that really left an impression on me at such a young age. And even till this day, every so often when I'm looking at the towels in my linen closet, I put that memory back in my head. I'm like, wow, how did they get those towels so beautifully stacked? And I just admired. I thought it was so beautiful, and it looked so nice and attractive and welcoming, and something that I really desired. But the thing is with me is there's a part of me that absolutely loves organization. I love planning our day, especially with homeschooling the kids. I love knowing what I'm going to do. I love planning work stuff. But at the same time, I'm super free flow. I love just going with the day and going along with what I feel God has prompted me to do each day, or what topics even that I'm going to present to you each week. And honestly, I have in my little notebook a list of all the topics that I want to present and share with you on Thursdays. But I'm kind of waiting till like Wednesday night, Thursday morning to actually let everybody know what I'm going to be presenting on, because it could be something totally different. So I just kind of wait and I pray and ask, God, what it is that he wants me to present on, or what would be the best for you at this time. So, and today actually happened to be organization. So I just want to let you know that there's parts of me that are really organized, but there's also parts of me that aren't. And for me, I believe that really works well because I can pick and choose and be creative also with my organization. So I love getting rid of stuff. That's my favorite thing. I love going through closets and cleaning them out and moving things or throwing things away. I know there's other people who prefer to keep things and it's harder for them to give things up. So it just depends on your organizational style. But for me, less for sure is more. I prefer having less stuff so I can feel like I have more space and room to breathe. And also, for me, it looks nicer. It looks prettier and more open and light and airy when there's less stuff around, which is hard to do with 3 kids that are homeschooled with me all the time. But it feels so nice when we can work together and accomplish that really amazing task, especially when the sink is empty and everything's cleaned out. I'm sure you can relate. You have the same feeling. I'm sure it feels really good to you to have less stuff around the house. So, all right, let's get back to our steps of simplifying and how to start getting organized. So one of the first steps of simplifying is, of course, get organized. Nobody likes coming home to a mess, and those piles of clutter just add to your to-do list. Instead of letting things pile up, find a way to stay organized that helps you stick with it. And especially with these new habits, keep in mind that it's easy to say, it's okay, I'll just deal with it later. But that's often how those piles creep up. By dealing with things now, it's so much easier to stay organized and keep the clutter at a minimum. I remember having a friend who would call it paper pirates. And she was teaching a class at our church about organization. And the very first time I really heard something like this. And I thought, man, that sounds really overwhelming and pretentious because I was more of a free flow type person. But then over time, I just started realizing, wow, this is actually pretty cool. I like the way this feels. And it took me some time, to really start adapting this to my own lifestyle. But once I did, it made life so much easier. So, paper pirate. She told us about how, basically how papers stack up at your desk and they never seem to go away, no matter how often you try to take care of it. So that reminds me of taking care of it in the moment instead of letting it pile up. All right, number 2, donate what you don't use, which makes sense. You can donate or throw it away. That's when I clean out my kids' closet, that's our piles: donate, throw away, or keep. So go through your belongings and see if there's anything that you don't use. Go through the entire house, including your closets and your junk drawers. A quote by William Morris. He's one of the primary designers of the British arts and craft movement. He once said, "Have nothing in your houses that you don't know to be useful or believe to be beautiful." That's really cool. So if you find something in your house that just doesn't bring you joy, or like Marie Kondo says, spark joy in your life, you don't need it. And if there's something in your house that's just like, wow, this really adds value to my life and to our home, that's the thing that you keep. And when we moved, I actually was pleasantly surprised. Actually, I was shocked that when I had my daughter go through all of the items in her bedroom, and she was 4 years old, maybe she was 5 at the time, 4 or 5, and she was truly able to identify things that really gave her joy or sparked joy in her life, and the ones that didn't. And she made piles. And I was thinking, oh man, she's going to be too upset. She's going to want to keep every single thing that she has. But she really did. I know how intuitive children are, and I didn't know if it would apply in this area, but it certainly did. And she was okay with doing that. So you might be surprised with your kids. All right, let's see what I have here. Number 3. Oh, actually, when you're ready to give stuff away, once you boxed up those items, those to-go items, donate them. Perhaps someone else will find them beautiful or useful. So number 3, just consume a little less stuff. If you consume less, of course, you'll have less stuff to manage. Having extra space or money doesn't mean that you'll have to fill it or spend it on. Think about one thing you purchase each day or each week that you could cut out without negatively affecting your quality of life. So that's one way to start. Just thinking about one thing that you may purchase on a day or during the week that you could cut out without negatively affecting your life. It's pretty amazing. Number 4, keep your kitchen and workout area ready for activity. The kitchen and your workout space or home gym are 2 of the primary areas in your home that you use to get fit and healthy. By keeping these ready for you to just jump in and get busy, you make it even easier to achieve your goals. If you don't have a separate workout room, consider dedicating a corner of your house as your workout corner. By keeping, organize it so that you can jump in easily to your workout with your mat, resistance bands or weights, or any other kind of equipment that you need at the ready. The same thing goes for your kitchen. Have you ever avoided cooking because your kitchen was too cluttered or because the sink was full of dirty dishes? Make your kitchen a space where you want to cook. That's pretty cool, huh? I know it's so easy to be like, oh, this is such a mess. I don't even want to be in this space when you're wanting to cook. And it's interesting, I actually was just realizing that when it comes to an exercise area, so in our house, in our closet in our master bedroom, I have just enough space to do my workouts with my laptop, my videos, and I also do it in my room when everybody's awake. But a lot of times I work out early in the morning, so I go do it in the closet so I don't wake anybody up. But today, my husband was so amazing, and he actually created a little bit more of a designated workout area for me. We have a weight rack. Those weight racks for dumbbells that you can see at the gym or have at home. We have one of those, but we haven't found a really good spot for it because since we've moved. And today he thought I could put it in the closet with the rest of your weights you have in there that you use to work out. So he brought it in for me, cleaned it up, put my weights in there, and it's like the perfect fit for our space. So I was happy to have that. And I went inside, I'm like, oh, this is beautiful. I had my weight rack, and then he beautifully organized my mats under there and my foam roller. And it just looks like it's so inviting, and it makes me want to go in to start to do my workout. So having designated space, even like in your kitchen, going back to the kitchen, when you know where everything is and your cabinets aren't cluttered, but they're really well organized, it makes it so much more inviting and enjoyable to want to start cooking, or even creating a family cooking evening so you guys can all have space in the kitchen to cook. So that's really nice when you have that. All right, let's talk about meal prep. So another way you can simplify your life is preparing your meals. Just think how convenient it would be to have all your meals prepared for you so you don't have to think about cooking after a long day. This is here 1 or 2 days a week. Prep your meals for the next few days. Chop your veggies, cook your proteins, and put your dishes together so that all you have to do is pull them out of the fridge, heat them up, and enjoy. By doing this, you'll reduce the temptation to eat out or cook unhealthy foods because you're feeling exhausted. That is so true. I think probably one of the biggest barriers for people to cook at home or even knowing what to eat is not planning it out and organizing your meals. So even if you're not cooking your meals and freezing them, it's always nice to at least have a list a week in advance, knowing exactly or what you're planning to eat for the week. For me, when I started doing that, when I do that, there's such a level of, I can feel like this burden's off my shoulders. I know what we're having tonight. Nobody's guessing, nobody's wondering. And it just feels so good to know in advance. And sometimes too, I may even mix the meals around, like let's say Wednesday. Let's say Wednesday we're having, what do we do on Wednesday? Leftovers or a theme night. And I'm just like, Italian doesn't really sound good tonight. Then I'll just swap it out for something else I had planned for the week that sounds better. So you don't necessarily have to stick to it, but at least you know, excuse me, and we'll know exactly what it is that you're wanting to have. At least an idea of what you want to have during the week. All right. Number 6, refocus on what's important to you. What is most important to you? Take the time to make a short list of the things that you find necessary and those that make you happy. For example, if you love reading, but you find that you use up your free time at night watching Netflix, excuse me, or scrolling through Facebook or other social media instead, make a conscious effort to break that habit and refocus your mind on activities that actually give you pleasure instead of those that just pass the time. So that seems it would create a space that's so much more meaningful than just doing something that passes the time. I know I'm totally guilty of this because it's easy just to open up your phone and find entertainment scrolling through Facebook or other social media. But what if you set your intention to do something that actually did give you more pleasure and more value, like reading a book, taking a bath. We have a jacuzzi, so like sitting in the jacuzzi, or working on a puzzle, or talking to a friend, or journaling, or reading. I said reading your Bible, reading a book. If you're learning to play an instrument or do some kind of art, seems like it would create so much more meaning in your life and give you so much more value and just help your brain. I even thought about doing crossword puzzles the other night, and for this year, I keep having in my mind, I need to do something that I've been thinking about doing, but just felt like I couldn't do. Like, I've always wanted to do like an adult dance class, maybe tap or ballet or something like that, or wanting to take like a voiceover class. I've been interested in doing voiceover for years now, since college, when I first did my first voiceover for a class. What else? There's a few other things out there. One of the things that came across my mind was learning how to fly a plane. So I thought, this year is the year that I'm going to try at least one thing that I've been wanting to do but feels outside of my comfort zone. Maybe even take a dance class with my husband. That'd be kind of fun too. So think of something that would give you more meaning and refocus on what you find is important to you. So I know that there's, out of these 6 steps and things that I presented to you, that it can seem in itself to be overwhelming to start to know where to begin with organizing. But the good news is that you can actually take a minimalist approach to organization. You can do this by beginning with areas in your home, in your life, that negatively impact your daily life the most. So if you find yourself frazzled in the morning and rushing around, maybe that's the place to start. And a good idea is to sit down, maybe get up 10-15 minutes earlier before the day begins and life starts coming at you with kids and activities and chores and things. And just write down what you have planned for today, starting out with the things that are scheduled in your day, already scheduled, writing those down, and then filling in those gaps with daily things like meals, chores, exercise, things like that. So start out just listing out the things you have scheduled that have an appointment or a time to be at, and then in those gaps, put in the things that are daily activities, like I said, like food, exercise, and even I always recommend to add in a gap in your day that's a blank. It's a blank space. It's a nothing time. And that time isn't intended to be fulfilled with stuff to do, but it's intended to be to breathe, reset, and rest. So it's important to add in a nothing space as well. So I know probably the hardest thing, if you're not completely organized type of person yet, the hardest thing to do is to get started. But I know from experience that once you get started, it kind of is hard to stop because it feels so good it just feels so good to be more organized. It just makes life so much easier and so much more free-flowing when it's orchestrated before the day begins. So you're going to find that also too, when you're scheduling your day, you want to make sure to also add in maybe another 15 minutes of buffer time between activities, so that you have a chance to breathe and not rush around or get stressed out too. The last thing is that you want to avoid, and once you start getting into it and start organizing, really try to avoid starting and like a bonfire, like, oh, I got to do this. And all of a sudden you start your activities and you're getting organized, you're doing your thing, you're like attacking one cabinet, your fridge, your drawers, your closets. and you're just going after it until you have nothing left in you. The thing is that big bonfire is going to fizzle out quickly, and you're going to get truly, literally burnt out. So really pace yourself, maybe do a couple of areas at a time at the most, and then select another couple areas after that. Again, organizing your organization. So just make sure that you're aware and mindful of how much you're doing, so that way you can sustain this like a kindling fire that burns hot for a longer period of time. Okay? All right. Let's see if there's anything else that I have here for you. Okay, yes. So if you have your pen and paper out and ready, I'm going to ask you a few questions. So from the tips I listed above, what area of your life needs to be taken care of first to give you the most freedom and pleasure? So think about that. What area of your life needs to be most taken care of first to give you the most freedom and pleasure? Okay, so what you want to do is when you create your list of all the things you have to do in one day, and you're not exactly sure how to organize them and order them, the best thing to do is to identify them with numbers by priority. So usually the things that take top priority are things that have a scheduled appointment time. So you can call that number 1. And then something that's a little bit less important, number 2, and less important 3, all the way till you're done organizing them according to their priority or order of importance. And if you have something that you're stuck with that can be that's similar, like if it's of similar in importance or priority, you can do like it's priority number 1, priority 1A, and priority 1B, priority 1C, and then move to number 2. So if you have things that are kind of tied, then you can add A, B, and C to it so that you can kind of subcategorize them. All right, I think that is it. So take the time to really kind of brainstorm some of the things that we talked about and how you can apply organization to your daily life. What is it, like I said, that you need to, what area of your life do you need to address first because it's causing you the most chaos in your day? So I know for me, the easiest thing to think of is getting up a little bit early and organizing your day as it comes, or organizing your week in advance on Sunday or Monday or even Saturday, knowing what you're planning to do a week ahead, so that way you have a frame of reference. And it's interesting because I heard this before, but there really is a sense of security and safety in boundaries. So if you think about it with kids, when they have boundaries and rules and guidelines, they don't always love them, but it gives them a sense of security and safety. So you'll find that once you start creating more of an organized schedule and organized life and household, it feels so much better overall. And you just feel safer and more secure. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's talk about organization, and I will keep you posted on what's coming up next. Some of the topics I have on my list are mindful eating, exercise at any age. We have intuitive eating, weight loss without dieting. What else? Mindfulness, and how mindfulness can enhance your life and be beneficial to your everyday lifestyle. And I think there's a few more too, but I will keep you posted, and I hope to see you then. Go ahead and comment on this post with the answers to the questions I posed. Talk to you soon.